Star Wars Outlaws! Yeah, our dear friends at IGN revealed the game. As you all know, it's coming out this week. A few days from now, I've been preoccupied, busy playing Black Myth Wukong, that I even got to forget that this game is coming out this week. Star Wars Outlaws was such a game that I was interested in from the get-go, but with everything that has come out with the game, like my excitement has literally been toned down. So I'm pretty excited to see what IGN says about the game and what their review is, because we all know IGN when it comes to reviewing games. Real players review for a game might be here and IGN's review will go down here. IGN's review might go here and actual players review might go down here. I'm pretty excited to see what the rating is for this kind of game, because we all know the controversies that is surrounding this game. A lot of things about this game that have come out lately, it looks unpolished, it looks unfinished in so many parts, it looks super generic. So let's see what IGN says and let's see if IGN can persuade me to buy this game. So like and subscribe, let's go.
As far as Star Wars video games go, we've taken countless turns at twirling lightsabers and unleashing flashy force powers, but Star Wars Outlaws swaggers into the cantina, slinks down into a booth with its holster clip unbuttoned, and argues that those are no match for a good blaster at your side. This open world, or rather open worlds action game features a level of gun battles and broken promises befitting the legend that is Chewbacca's best mate. However, Star Wars Outlaws essentially delivers a Han Solo-like experience in both good and bad ways. It has some...
Yeah, that's what I knew the game to be. Because for me, I thought the game was gonna have Han Solo, because literally KFS is just a kind of female Han Solo, because she's built off Han Solo. I don't know if anyone can argue about that. Should have just made it a Han Solo game in my own opinion, but it's fine that they chose a different character that has nothing to do with the rebellion.
But it's also somewhat scruffy around the edges and is liable to let you down from time to time.
Is this IGN? What did they say? Did they just criticize the game?
A strong sense of adventure, but it's also somewhat scruffy around the edges and is liable to let you down from time to time.
Really? This is IGN criticizing the game, Star Wars Outlaws, with the amount of previews that they hate about this game, trying to market it. They're actually criticizing it. Okay, let's see if they really go in depth with criticizing this game, because in my own opinion, there's a lot to criticize about this game from everything that has come out. No, there are people who work at Massive who really put all their effort and time into making this game, but at the same time, we need to measure it with the games that came before it. Look at the Jedi Survivor game. Look at what those games did and look at what those games mean to the players. So when you're making a game like this, I felt like they had those guidelines already to help them make a good game. And since they're saying this is the first open world whatever, I don't care about open world games. I just care if a game makes sense and game is detailed enough for me to care. Because in this game, you cannot steal speeder bikes, you cannot steal vehicles from other people, you cannot fight anyone. Just look at all those things. You are a scoundrel. You are literally a criminal. But at the same time, they cannot risk being a super criminal. They have to limit it to some certain extent. I wanted this game to just go balls crazy and I can do anything, since it's an open world game that they say.
Of course, given that its propulsive space western story takes place in between The Empire Strikes Back and Return of the Jedi, the actual Han Solo is literally on ice for the duration of Outlaws.
Okay, so you get to see him
into the battered space boots of Kay Vass, a cunning thief raised amidst the hives of scum and villainy in the gambling capital of Canto Bight, and accompanied at all times by her adorable pint-sized partner in crime, Nyx. Kay's quickly shown to be handy with a hairpin lockpick and has an insatiable appetite for five-finger discounts.
Five-finger discounts.
Although like Dash Rendar and pre-Jedi Kyle Katarn before her, she never really steps out of Han's shadow and becomes much...
I don't know if it's just me or not, but there's an issue for me when it comes to the NPCs in this game. Like the aliens, they look more in line with humans than aliens that they're supposed to be. I don't know if I'm wrong, but they look like humans with fake paint on them. Just look at this guy who seems to run this cantina. He looks more in line with me, a human being, than an actual alien. I feel like since this game is set in the Star Wars universe, the aliens needs to look aliens. They don't have to look like us. Come on, guys. Like, I don't know if that's too much to ask. And even the language, they should speak their own language. We can read subtitles. Who cannot read subtitles? Guys, come on.
More than a stand-in smuggler with a heart of gold.
You want it done right? You do it yourself.
What follows is a 20-hour string of reckless rescue missions and shady underworld
20 hours. That's
Kay and Nyx crisscross their way around
game
four
length.
main planets and the pirate-riddled spaces between, attempting to unite a squad of like-minded criminals with the aim of pulling
just I don't know. And this, like the graphics look good, but it's the facial animations of the main character. Like something just looks off and weird to me.
Unite a
Just
squad
look
of
at her
like-minded
here.
criminals
She
with
looks
the aim of
lifeless.
pulling off a major heist and erasing the bounty placed on Kay's head by the crime
At
boss,
least we'll be seeing
Slero.
much of the back of her throughout most of the game. But during the cutscenes, something just looks off. Something just rubs me off the wrong way.
Casino owner serves as Outlaws' primary antagonist and seems suitably callous enough,
You must be Slero.
Your friends abandoned you.
but is neither as outright evil as Emperor Palpatine, nor as quietly menacing as Grand Admiral Thrawn, and is kept at a distance for the most part and only ever encountered in the occasional cutscene.
You're gonna have to do better than that.
So IGN just showed here that there's an issue with the villain. The game has a villain issue. The villain is not that menacing. One, they gave their example with Palpatine, dude from Ahsoka, who I thought was done better in Legends than how he was done in the actual series. This game has a villain issue already. Imagine that in the Star Wars universe. They are actually saying that the villain is weak. This villain was not menacing to me when I first saw him say, we have an opportunity here. Like, I'm like, dude, you are not that guy. You are not that guy. Like, shut up. This game would have done well with a menacing villain.
Even so, Outlaws' story is a consistently entertaining quest, and one that takes Kay through some recognizable spaces and some entirely new, all while cutting deals with countless colourful criminals, including this surly Celestin mobster on Akiva, who has the audacity to deal out orders to you while putting his feet up on a desk made out of his own carbonite-encased brother.
He took my eye.
Okay, that's good.
But I took everything else.
I feel like this game is good bonds. In that, I'm saying that they were good ideas, but the execution was just poor. If they had properly executed this game could have been a hit. I'm sure it's gonna sell a lot of copies.
While her end goal may be considerably smaller in scope than, say, blowing up a Death Star, the environments Kay's entertaining saga unfolds in are surprisingly large. To be clear, this isn't No Man's Skywalker, so you don't have the freedom to circle each planet and land wherever you choose. However, with the exception of the comparatively more compact city setting of Kijimi, Outlaws' sandboxes stretch out far and wide and contrast with each other nicely, from the iconic arid sands of Tatooine to the lush rainforest of Akiva, whose network of rivers is handily transformed into shortcut-making highways once you unlock the upgrade for your speeder bike that allows it to skim across the water's surface. It's
Okay,
a
at
good
least the
thing,
water
too,
looks
that
good
Kay's
now.
speeder can be
Looks better.
upgraded, since it's the only vehicle she's able to steer around while navigating each terrain.
It's not a Wi-Fi signal
Despite
anymore.
the fact that in Outlaws' many bustling settlements you can see land speeders whizzing by, saddled dewbacks waddling along, and towering ATSTs chicken walking past, you can't actually ride or drive any of them.
Like, for real, why? You say this is an open world game. We've had a lot of open world games that were fantastic. This is why I hate Ubisoft open world games. They just have certain limitations to them. They seem like they were procedurally generated just for the fact for you to see like, oh wow, it's open. This is a desert area. Oh wow, it's open. Like I can see lush environments and all that stuff. But in actual fact, you cannot really interact with most of the elements in that game. It's a Star Wars game. We have so many vehicles. We have so many things to interact with. Why can't we use those things? Why are we just interacting with those things by just looking at them like, wow, what a nice vehicle? But can I take it? No, you cannot. Guys, do you remember GTA 5 years ago? 5 years ago, almost 10 years ago, you could interact with almost any vehicle that you see in that game. But here, a game in 2024, you cannot. Say so much about Ubisoft.
Compared with a decade-old Grand Theft Auto
There we
5,
go.
where if you can see it, you can probably steal it, or last year's The Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom, where if you can think it, you can probably build it, Outlaws comes up shorter than Luke Skywalker in a Stormtrooper suit in terms of its list of usable transportation types, which is a bit disappointing for a modern open-world adventure.
It's so funny that I'm agreeing with IGN. I do agree with that. It's lacking. Like, we only have one vehicle. That's the only mode of transportation that we have. And also the spaceship, so two, technically. But everything else we cannot use. Why? Why can't I steal more spaceships and use those? Why?
Imperial's over there.
Outlaws isn't just about getting from A to B, however. It's also about breaking into and out of various Imperial bases and crime syndicates' headquarters at the behest of the various underworld cohorts that Kay conspires with along the way.
Name's Varric, and I've got a real job for you.
Furry friend Nix is vital to these infiltrations, as he's basically a space cat drone who functions like a watchdog's phone. You can point him at switches to activate while you remain in cover,
Nix, the door.
or to briefly divert the attention of security cameras to allow you safe passage,
Nix, put on a show.
among several other useful talents. Kay has her own special set of skills when it comes to sneaking her way into each high security facility, and I never grew tired of the rhythm-based lockpicking, a surprisingly simple yet effective game of Simon Says that has to be one of the snappiest and most satisfying ways to open locked doors and crates that I've enjoyed in a while.
So essentially, Nix is BD1, right? Just a little bit different, but it's like the same thing. The only difference that it can go and fetch you something and bring it. And I'm sure BD1, in some certain instances, he could do the same thing. So is that innovative? I don't know. He's just one of those little cute creatures that are easily marketable. You know, how can Nix look cute than the protagonist? I don't know, man. Like, you tell me. Something is wrong. Nix's facial features look better than the actual protagonist that we're playing as.
Overall, however, Outlaws' stealth is markedly uneven.
What are you doing?
Oh my god, I can tell this IGN dude did not enjoy this game to the extent that they actually wanted to. Because he's saying that the stealth system is relatively uneven. Because for me, when I look at this game, it seems like the stealth system was just ported off from Assassin's Creed, and most importantly from Assassin's Creed, a game like Mirage, which was a heavily unpolished, useless game. So it seems more similar to that game than it is to its own thing. Maybe that's because of the Ubisoft engine, but it seems like they're using an engine that is kind of different from the Assassin's Creed games engine. I don't know. Somebody tell me if I'm wrong on that or correct in the comment section below. But from what I've seen from the previews, the stealth system does not look that good. It looks janky. It looks unpolished.
Sometimes it's far too easy, like when I was able to do the tried and tested Assassin's Creed distract and dispatch routine on multiple enemies in the same spot.
There we go. Assassin's Creed type of thing.
Yet at other times it was wildly unpredictable, like when I'd somehow trigger an alarm performing a stealth takedown, even though it appeared that no one else was around. Instead,
What did it say?
more
This is a
often
good
than
dog.
I'd like, my efforts to remain hidden would evaporate, things would get loud, and a number of other problems would present themselves.
This is my main issue with this game. What is saying that the stealth system is unpredictable. It can be good, it can be super easy, then it can be just straight up trashy. But this is my issue with the game. Okay, we take down that dude, then we come through these stairs, we get to the robot, right? He's not firing. He's in our face. He's not firing. He's in our face. He's not firing. He's in our face. He's not firing. Now he starts firing. The lapse in time for him to start firing is just insane. That's the type of thing that I hate about this game. It just looks unpolished. Something just looks damn awful.
Instead, more often than I'd like, my efforts to remain hidden would
1,
evaporate,
2,
things would get
3,
loud,
4.
and a number
Oh my
of other
God.
problems would present themselves. Outlaws' combat serves up some solid cover-based shooting with authentic sound effects and punchy smoke and sparks with each blaster bolt impact, but precious little in the way of new ideas. It's less Bad Batch and more basic bitch.
What the hell? Did IGN just call it that? Oh my god. They just call it a basic B. Like, for real. Oh my god, IGN. Keep on doing this and I'm gonna like you again. Because you are the biggest, one of the biggest gaming journals or journalists or whatever on this platform. And you just call this game basic B. For once, they are saying something right. Because yeah, right. All gamers who have been looking at this game, they've been seeing the same thing and like, yo, no, something looks off about this game. This game looks basic AF. They did not do what they were supposed to do when it came to making this game. It's like they just followed the Ubisoft checklist guidelines. Like, no, open world, okay, we have this, we have this, we have this. Then it's fine, let's release it. You know, they did not put much effort into this game that they were supposed to. You can just look at games like Black Myth Wukong. Look at the effort that was put in that game and look at this game. Look at the difference. Of course, there are different genres, but it's crazy. The difference is super astounding. These games that are coming out in 2024, and one looks like this, and the other looks awesome. I just want to hear it again, what IGN said.
Outlaws' combat serves up some solid cover-based shooting with authentic sound effects and punchy smoke and sparks with each blaster bolt impact, but precious little in the way of new ideas.
That's why they call it basic. There are no new ideas. It's just repurposed stuff that we have seen before, but here even done poorly.
It's less Bad Batch and more basic bitch.
Oh my god!
It always
That's a
seemed to be
band.
Red Barrel delivery day in every combat arena that Kay arrived in, and I used these explosive targets in almost every encounter to thin the Stormtrooper and scumbag hordes. There's always the challenge of knowing when to detonate them to take out the most enemies, but that's the same thing we've been doing for decades, so while it's effective, it doesn't exactly make Outlaws' combat stand out.
Yeah, that's true. Basic B type of
These
thing.
simplistic shootouts can also be brought to a faster conclusion via the use of Kay's Adrenaline Rush move, which charges up while she's under attack and allows her to slow time and then mark and execute multiple targets in one rapid hip-firing burst. Almost identical to the Deadeye targeting from the Red Dead Redemption series. It's useful and satisfying for
I don't think we can say almost identical. It's literally identical to what was in Red Dead Redemption. I don't care about people copying good stuff. Like, at least maybe when you're copying, you can copy from the best, maybe.
for the most part, although I did find Kay would occasionally pump some stylish slow-motion blaster rounds directly into the cover in front of her rather than the target I had selected. It felt a bit limiting that Kay can only permanently carry her blaster and grenades in her inventory. But weapons dropped by enemies can be picked up, used, and discarded once they're out of ammo. However, what really irks me about Outlaws' approach to secondary weapons is how much it goes out of its way to make you drop them. Do a melee attack? Drop your weapon. Crawl into a vent?
There we go.
Drop your
Drop
weapon.
your weapon.
Climb a wall or a ladder?
Drop your weapon.
Who programmed this? RoboCop?
Drop it.
Oh my god. IGN is banning this game. That's a sick ban. Yeah, man. I don't understand why that they thought that this was proper. That you cannot take any weapons, you cannot carry them over. Like, you just drop them all over the place. Like, that's insane for a modern game, a 2024 game. And what they are calling the biggest and the first open world Star Wars game. Like, come on, guys.
If I pick up a sniper rifle, it doesn't seem unreasonable to expect that I should be able to carry it with me up to a high enough vantage point to best put it to use. It's especially annoying given
That's
how
stupid.
often I was hit and killed instantly while behind cover by enemy snipers in elevated positions.
Oh my god.
Simple and reheated as it generally is, I definitely warmed to the combat a bit more as time went on, particularly once I was able to upgrade my blaster with a couple of...
It's so funny. The guy bashes the game and now it tries to come back into its good graces. Like, let's just talk about the bad and say it as it is. They should have fixed it to the extent that you can be able to carry these weapons. At least fix that part, and then later we cannot reload those weapons. That's still fine for me. But the fact that you just climb a ledge to get a better vantage point, you drop the weapon is just crazy. Like, you are beating up someone, you drop the weapon. Why not use the weapon to beat up the foe?
alternative shot modes. That effectively gave me 3 weapons to swap between, even if they were all coming out of the same barrel.
Okay.
Still, at no point did this combat system ever feel as flexible or as fun as the best games.
I think there's an issue here that was easily fixed by a game such as Black Myth Wukong, a game that also features one type of weapon, which is the staff. But the things that they get to do with that stuff is astounding. You don't feel like you're only using one weapon. You feel like you're using multiple weapons because you can change that stuff in so many different ways. So I hope that's what ends up happening with this blaster, but I don't think it will be to that extent of Black Myth Wukong. I just think it will still be lacking in a lot of ways.
Ubisoft's own Far Cry series, and fights started to feel pretty repetitive outside of the rare encounter with probe droids or the one-off scrap with a Rancor. Having said that, I'll take the basic on-foot combat in Outlaws over its awkward speeder bike fights.
IGN, here's the speeder.
Since this is Star Wars, Outlaws also features space combat, and rarely could I ever emerge from a lightspeed jump in Kay's Trailblazer ship and not crash headlong into a dogfight that felt authentic to the films.
You know, it'd be nice to visit a planet that isn't a war zone once in a while.
Slinking off to bully some TIE fighters did offer a nice way to blow off some steam every once in a while, as a break from all the face-to-face skullduggery down on each planet's surface. Although I didn't invest too much in the ship modifications, since the modest challenge presented by my orbital opponents didn't ever seem to increase to any noticeable degree.
IGN does not like the speeder bike. The speeder bike combat is not good. If IGN says it, that is not good, better know that it really is not that good. There's Jabba.
Jabba, right?
One of Outlaws' most interesting and novel features is its syndicate system, which reminded me of the reputation system used in The Outer Worlds. Basically, you can't really complete a quest over the course of the campaign without pissing off one of the 4 main crime families in order to please another.
You want to, make a move?
Cozying up with one cartel might get you cheaper prices at a merchant you're on side with.
How about you let me take this off your hands and I'll throw in a good word for you.
But it'll also rob you of the ability to move about freely within the headquarters of another gang you've slighted.
Hey, you got anything interesting in the back?
Do I know you?
It's worth pointing out that this isn't Mass Effect. None of the numerous decisions I made seem to make a significant difference to the overall outcome of the story, but they did effectively make me feel like a truly dirty, rotten scoundrel as I continually reevaluated my allegiances in each deal I made so that it would best suit whatever my motives were at the time.
This is the issue for me. I thought that the decision that you make in aligning yourself with certain cartels would mean that it will affect the story in a certain way.
Okay, Manda, you got a deal.
For example, before I started exploring the surface of Tatooine, I made sure that I'd worm my way into the good graces of the Hutt Syndicate, since Jabba's goons control large swathes of its map, and I wanted to ensure that I could explore it thoroughly without drawing too much unwanted heat. Being able to explore unimpeded is paramount because Outlaws does such a great job teasing you with secrets to find or opportunities to pursue in an extremely organic way as you move through its 4 main worlds.
I found 2 perfectly good converters in the alley behind the club.
Almost every Cantina conversation I eavesdropped on or discarded datapad I read pointed me towards some new treasure to seek out or gambling tip to take advantage of, and it always felt like I was gleaning some illicit information rather than just being spoon-fed chores to complete, as is the case in so many other open-world adventures.
Okay.
The back alley next to the market.
Where Outlaws' quest design really excels, though, is in taking seemingly innocuous side objectives and spinning them out into exciting, multi-stage.
I don't know about that. I feel like it's literally the same as the other Ubisoft open world games. I don't think there's relatively anything new to this game. I feel like it's just following the same structure when it comes to everything, because when I look at this game, I see an Assassin's Creed game for the most part, but not on the combat side. No. The combat side is different, but the eavesdropping, the pickpocketing, blending into the crowd, that type of thing, that's all from the Assassin's Creed games. And we all know that that's a Ubisoft staple that they know and that they love. So I don't see anything new in that arena. I just see similar things, nothing new at all.
Staged adventures that regularly took me by surprise. Like when a simple trip to collect a certain object in Mos Eisley took a series of sharp twists and turns, and suddenly I was sliding deep into the bowels of a Sarlacc pit.
I do not think that was a good one.
Into an exciting escape.
I don't think that was a good one, because we did see the preview from that little mission and it just felt like the same old thing, like a fetch quest. Nothing more, nothing special, nothing new, if I should say. It just looked like a regular Ubisoft fetch quest. There's no innovation there. We're just doing the same thing. We're just doing our checklist again.
Escape from a huge sandworm. It's the lively left-turn stretches like these where Outlaws really shines, by stringing together countless Star Wars references and Uncharted-style moments of spectacular action and adventure, and there are plenty of quests like this that I've undertaken, and likely many more that I haven't even found yet. However, in order to enjoy moments such as these, you've got to take the rough with the smooth, especially since, as of launch, the PlayStation 5 version of Star Wars Outlaws that I played is plagued by more irritating bugs than a Dagobah camping ground.
Really? So does this mean that the good is outweighed by the bad? Because it seems like that's what they are saying, but they are not really saying it. I don't know why they are not really saying it, but it seems like that's what they are hinting towards, that the bad outweighs the good in this game. The bugs, the janky gameplay, the nonsense combat system. Like, how can you hit a stormtrooper who has a bucket head with the side of your arm? Like, literally. The bucket head is meant to protect the head of the stormtrooper, but size of your arm? Really? Who approved this?
Over the course of the journey, I saw countless graphical glitches, speeder bikes
God.
crashing to a halt trying to go over jumps, or small hills, or just randomly teleporting entirely.
Do you know what these crashes remind me of? These crashes remind me of Grand Theft Auto San Andreas type of thing.
Crucial mission prompts not appearing and forcing checkpoint restarts, and countless
Oh
occasions
my
where the
God.
dialogue audio just dropped out completely.
Yeah, this was a given.
Hey there.
This was a given for glitches. It was a given. It's a Ubisoft
That's
game at
just
the end
a
of it.
few of many examples. So if
Oh my
issues
God.
like those sound like they'd force pull you out of the Star Wars
The weapon
universe,
just disappeared.
it might be
Oh,
best
it's
to let
camping.
Ubisoft blast them off Outlaws' hull like a bunch of cable-chewing Minox before you pick Outlaws up.
What did they say?
Blasters aren't gonna do any.
Blast them off Outlaws, force pull you out of the Star Wars universe, it might be best to let Ubisoft blast them off Outlaws' hull like a bunch of cable-chewing Minox before you pick Outlaws up.
Did Ubisoft just literally say that maybe it's best for you to wait until this game is on sale or the bugs have been fixed? Oh my God. Like literally. So imagine how worse this game it really is if Ubisoft is saying such a thing. I cannot reiterate this enough. I respect people and their job, the people at Massive Entertainment. I'm sure this was their passion and ambition, but there's something just wrong right now with the structure of Ubisoft. They really need to change something so that we can actually get to appreciate them again, like we did with the Assassin's Creed games during their inception, not the modern ones, but the ones back in the early 2000s and the 2010s. Those games were epic. They were good. They were made with heart and effort. But lately, something has been massively wrong at Massive. Ignore that part.
Blasters aren't gonna
Okay,
do
the
anything.
verdict. What rating do you think IGN is gonna give it? I'm sure IGN is gonna give it an 8 or something because they seem like they cannot go under that. When IGN gives a game an 8 for me, and especially when they've said things like this, I'll take it down to a 6. That's what it literally really means. When they give a good game a 7, I'll really take it to a 9. Because I don't know, they just go on their own side a lot of the times. They don't go along with all the gamers.
It's ironic that Kay's ship is called the Trailblazer, since there's actually not a whole lot of ideas in Star Wars Outlaws that haven't been done in other action and open world
Oh,
adventures.
burn! Oh,
Instead, it's
burn!
quite like the Millennium Falcon. A bucket of bolts held together with repurposed parts and prone to breaking
Shit.
down.
Oh my God.
But at its best, it's more than capable of jolting your pleasure centers into Star Wars fan hyperspace.
Trying to say is just that it's literally fan fiction, but fan fiction not done right.
A clever syndicate system brings real weight to almost every task you choose to undertake, some of which have truly creative quest designs that can often conjure up some genuinely stunning blindsides.
But didn't you say that the syndicate system doesn't really affect your story? I don't know, man. So how does it have weight? Because if it does not really affect your story in terms of the decision that you get to make, how does it have weight?
Having a pal like Nick's at your side the entire time not only adds an extra dimension to Kay's fairly generic smuggler character, but also gives her an enhanced set of abilities. But
They just called it generic as well. Like so many brands that IGN is putting in this, but then they pull back like, okay, let's pull back. Dude, just say it as it is. Let's not sugarcoat this. This game is generic. The character is generic. I don't think she has any depth to her.
even he can't quite make Outlaws' stealth and combat feel any less rigid or repetitive, and the odds of avoiding the many glaring technical issues present at launch is
They gave it a 7. I knew it. I knew it. So from 7, me, I'll literally put it down. Maybe to a 6 if I'm being generous. Yeah, maybe to a 6.
3,720 to 1.
Never tell me the odds.
Okay, fair enough. For more IGN reviews, check out our verdicts on Black Myth, Wukong, and Fallout London. And for
Okay, my guys, like, what do you think of this? I really think that this game is really falling short of the expectation that people had towards it. When the first preview trailer was released, I was super excited about this game. I was happy that we're going to play not as a Jedi, but as someone else. As time went on and all the previews that were released, like, it literally took me out. The character is generic. I don't think there's any depth to the character. The model looks awful. Nyx looks cute, but you cannot save this game from what it is. It's basic. They even called it Basic B. Oh my goodness. So I'm excited to see how you guys feel about this game. Are you excited? Are you thrilled? Are you excited to play this game? Or are you gonna wait until this game's is on a sale? Because surely, I'm sure it's gonna be on a sale quite quickly.